ये छ सोन सूर्यम सेशन है ना. I know आज we thought आज शायद हमारी thin attendance है, but ठीक शुक्रवा I think we are a tribe anyway, so let's begin. इसका when I'll start with our own हमारे जो president साहब हैं शरद जी. आप आगे आज बढ़ो.
अच्छा तो दितोस बुई बुथे हाँ चलो ठीक है क्या चाहिए श्री गणेश करो
Very nice.
Okay, all right. Third. Okay, अच्छा.
No, you was last time Purmut.
ये last वाला है. इस बार का ये मुख्य
57. अच्छा अच्छा 50. ओके ये वाक हम इसको में सरा की भाषा में सहज वाक मगर गणिक वर्ड्स भी आम बड़ मुश्किल मन मुसीबत तो एनीवे बकर ये भवानी ये वाक तपन ललेश तपन क्या छुक दीवान अन्नी बच
Kav
कव
chu anan
कव कव कव
Cow.
कव कव
Ah.
Cover, छना तपाईँ क्याज मैं भी सिचुएशन ओरिजिनल वर्ड उस कवई मैं बाइसो मोर एप्रोप्रिएट मतलब कैसे तपाईँ क्याज चुको वाई क्याज गाना मगर इच्छे कव तो गवा ती मतलब कव चुक दीवान अन्नी बच तुरखै चुक तो अंदरी आच शिव छी अति तो कुन मागच सहज कथ मेनी करते पाच तो वैसे इजी वाक इन सेंस कि हर कह वाक पान लले वन कि नबर ान मोस्ट ऑफ द वाक ती मैसेज दिवान कि नबर ान भगवान और अस पज अंदर अचुन अंदर वुचुन कि तो सुप्रीम कॉन्शियसनेस शिव यथ शिव दपान सह अंदर सह दपान ललित ये कि क्या दिवान अन बच बच मतलब यू आर ट्राइंग टू like a blind person you are trying to grope and see where the things are poch dapan turkhai chuk chuk intelligent person agar chu chuk intelligent person te tel wuch andar look inside पोषतपन बे एक्सप्लेन कर शिवची अति अगर अंदर वचक तो शिवची से अंदर चुक नेब्र छांडान शिव चु नेब्र छांडान पीस इचन नेब्र
व्यवहार छुन वुचुन अंदर छु भगवान को ध्यान कर
करेक्ट
संसार व्यवहार मन छु कम रोजन शिव सुंत शिव छु पोष बाकी संसार छु सोरे अब्जु इसलिए अंदर से शिव का ही ध्यान करो
शिवची अति तो kunma guts. You don't have to go anywhere. It's inside. Understand dapan?
World day appearance tra.
Titish dapan sahaj kath meani. It's a simple thing. Simple. Karto pach. ये लास्ट सेंटेंस में थोड़ा सा मैं सोच कि रालेश्वरी इतना थोड़ा अथॉरिटी सान दपान की करतो पाच मींस शी हैज apparently already realized क्योंकि she has gone through the different stages gone chitava mechen pata me koch gatsun me lagya tar different walks different so you walk chi basani she tamis lukun yamis em shi thoda sa realize gormut that consciousness tamar man karto me pach means she has seen it she has experienced it and now she is saying with the authority shuchu ati kunma gats sage kach it's a simple thing me karto pach and I think that gives a little bit of I thought extra meaning where she's coming from when she's saying that word. So that was my interpretation, and that's what I think is simple walk, but again reiterating that as andar wuchun so Shanti, consciousness such as Andre, Shiv chess Andre, Nebar Thani Chan Zurat Ke. Yeah, thank you. Any questions? Any comments?
I think, Sharadji, I mean, beautifully put. This is Ashivachan Laleshwari Singh Vakhanman's Yahoi, underlying theme chi Yahoi, ki Shivchui, Akchui, Shivchui, Har Kuni Jesus Mans, Thel Thel, Nebrit, Undritus, Magar Elias, it's put as Sandan Chitimis Nebrit, it's Divan as Bay, Ichi Undre, Sandun Undre. So underlying philosophy the agar to which Kashmiri Shaivism Yushchina vanan so taches trika shastra te vanan just an aside just sharing some very small tidbits of Kashmiri Shaivism here. Trika shastra chu vanan ki the reason it is called three as well trika is Paramatma Jivatma tachus connection chu shakti tavaichya trika shastra te vanan. तो ये त्रिका शास्त्र छु एस वुचान पानस मज भगवान मगर यह एनर्जी वसान एस कॉन्शियसनेस सोई एनर्जी सोई शक्ति तमी रियलाइज कर सोई सारी जर्नी सोई रियलाइजेशन ऑफ द शिवा इनसाइड यू इट इज वन एंड द सेम थिंग सो Laleshwari काफी वाक सोई अंडरलाइंग थीम मैसेज रिएटरेट करान दिवान की सुचुक निब्र करान सोरी युची सोरी अंदर बट देन शी आल्सो गिव्स such a practice te divan ye kit pait hekko karit and so on and there are काफी वाक yim es tatmas te thoda sa na prakash kar divan ki kit pait paizi kar
ठीक ठीक मागत या जब बाकी वक्त इतकन दप बाकी वक्त गोरम दपनम कुनी वाचो नेब्र दपनम अंदर आचो same
exactly
thing.
Goran, Goran.
Goran Goran dapnam. Many times that gets repeated ki look inside rather than looking for that supreme outside.
There is also a very interesting thought in Kashmiri Shaivism. Kazki ichu sui manifest gasan outside the inside. Yel esche vichan su material world asmans sucha asan hidden. But when you get a glimpse of that, ichu sui sore. It is the same thing. When it reveals itself, yim realize chi karan timanchi gasan su revelation. Ichu sui. But under never chutiman sui ivan bozna oneness chna underlying oneness akur if you see the fundamental foundation is oneness of the non duality of this
universe whatever
there is oneness in everything.
It's all everything.
Is it like looking into your inner consciousness?
Yathakau ispert vichit eschivanan okay esche atma inside.
Atma, how do you describe atma? Inner consciousness, it's some sort of energy. Like, is my atma different than your atma?
Na atma cha akoy shiv chu akoy esche tat classify karan identify as karan as jivatma when yat body asman cha tachvanan jivatma magar ye soy ak paramatma atma such akoy switch oneness switch wuchun switch thandu so kus chu esmans tachu tat wuchnich koshish kar yos ye atma ches vanan che esmans aschi अंग्रेज पर ये word अलग तरीके से use karan जैसे as in we use the word soul referring to the person itself as well. He's a good soul. But agar if you look at the meaning of Atma in essence, Atma chi soy atma sounding. So kosche. And jo, again, this is in my limited understanding. So please, this is what I have read and how I understand it. Again, if there is anything that is amiss, please correct me.
Now, Tichna, I think super consciousness is one thing. Param Shiva is one.
That is the
Everything
absolute.
else is that's absolute. Everything else is ansh of that, is part of that. Or kahin par, in simple terms, if you put mirrors, object is there, mirrors are around it. It's one object reflecting in so many other mirrors. Ultimately, it is one only.
It
मतलब
is
हम
that
एक हिसाब से
manifestation.
आत्मा और कॉन्शियस को सेपरेट कर रहे हैं. They are two different separate entities. That's what we are saying. क्योंकि अगर
Especially,
आत्मा इज कॉमन अक्रॉस ऑल इंडिविजुअल, मैं जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि ये आत्मा से सोए, बट कॉन्शियसनेस हर कोई इंसान अलग, बिकॉज यू दैट्स मोर अबाउट अ पर्सनालिटी. जैसे मेरी कॉन्शियसनेस वोंट बी सेम एज योर्स और
I think
समवन एल्स.
यात छु थोड़ा सा subtle difference. अगर तो ये विचिव अद्वैत वेदांता तरफ difference छिवान मनस अलग अलग मनन छ अलग अलग संस्कार आसान या upbringing आसान and तिम तेच पेट छ limit गसान तिम छ तिथे पेट सोचान. So मन छु different आसान सारनी. But युस मनस छु प्रज्वलित करान सु छु consciousness, सु छु आत्मा, सु छु अकल. Consciousness is one. And this consciousness in a body is the limited body consciousness. In absolute, it's Param Shiva, absolute conscious. Magar ichu kuni. Sore chu yatmanzi, yus dance chu, sore yat consciousness manzi. That's how Advait Vedanta presents it. That's how Kashmiri Shaivism presents it. And to some extent, if you agar toy vichu Buddhism kun, Suchuvanan, Yathi Sari consciousness, Suchuvanan, you shunya, you empty. So, Suchukvanan Atma ch Anatma, Timchinamanan Atma, Timchimanan Anatma, Timchimanan, you empty, emptiness. Magar, this is Shunyam, Ashvanan Purnam, which is Hivui. These are opposite, let's say, diametrically opposite poles of the same reality.
I think confusion kasan is dapan soul conscious. When she's dapan normal conversation. I'm conscious. Aren't you conscious? Where is your self-conscious? So that is slightly different. That's not the consciousness that we are talking about here, I think.
You're right. We are talking about the light which is illuminating every experience in you. Because Shivchu Prat Kunismans. It is in and through everything. So when we talk about awareness or knowledge, I'm aware of this, I'm not, that is not consciousness. But that awareness's power chukara, that is the consciousness.
So what I'm trying to say is कि English में कोई direct उसका translation है नहीं, जैसे ब्राह्मण का कोई direct वो है नहीं. Loosely it is, they say consciousness, but that's not necessarily. It doesn't, because the way we use consciousness, English language, it's not necessarily as Sanskrit में ब्राह्मण है.
True, because consciousness is used differently as well as in English language. That's for sure. That is for sure. But
normal, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, the most commonly we use consciousness to are you conscious? Don't you have self-conscious? That's a very limited attribute of that Brahman.
Yeah.
But there is nothing now. We are trying to use consciousness a little bit in a broader scope, trying to make it closer to Brahman. But normal language, normal usage, consciousness is very limited scope. It's just awareness. It's just
you see, consciousness is a word developed by English, let's say, thought. As a kosher or Indian thought as yacha word use karan is Atma, Chit, Chaitanya, Samvit, Brahman. Yim sari word, yim Chit, Chaitanya, Samvit, Brahman, Atma, yichu ultimate reality.
Right.
यह छ प्रज्ञावन, यह छ रटि.
Right.
Angrezas man nearest word छ इवान consciousness.
Yeah. Oh, and it is kind of a synonym of morality, sort of. In English, from from in English context, don't you where's your self-consciousness? Okay,
Or maybe
awareness
it
and morality,
changes. It
kind of.
changes
So
the
thoda
way
sa
it is being
different.
used.
When you so when ye less individual chna anan manjas, that brings a mental construct into it. Because if you agar deep kasam na, mind should separate, but consciousness is separate.
Separate, absolutely. Yeah.
So mind is, we are a product of our minds.
Yeah.
What is in it? But use consciousness chu, you chu power karanta minds. You see atma chu, ya you chit chu. For instance, is such a beautiful example shown 3 stages of life: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. For instance, these 3 states that they are all in all these 3 states. You are conscious, and but your mind is only working in the 2 stages. That is in the waking and in the dreaming state. In your deep sleep state, in your sushupti, mind is shunyam. There is blankness. There is nothing there. But consciousness is there, which is powering it. So, sorry thought as you produce kurmut, you should produce kurmut through mind.
True. True. I mean, that's
Anyway, we can go very deep into it.
I think that consciousness, what we take in the English, is probably mind and intellect both.
Exactly.
Lovely, yes.
English thought mein consciousness is coming from the mind.
हाँ,
जबकि हिंदू थॉट में चित ही है, उसके बाद मनस आता है. So chit is behind manas. Chit is powering everything. And chit is the ultimate or chaitanya. उसकी परख और उसको समझना, उसको रियलाइज करना ही जीवन का, जैसे कहते हैं ना, मूल है.
तो कृष्णा ने बोला ना, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर कौन से चैप्टर में, बट उसने बोला है ना कि अबाउट कॉन्शियसनेस, लाइक आई एम ब्राह्मण, like you all, I pervade you all, but you don't come pervade into me, like, so he's saying everything in the world is made up of me, so I'm in all of you, but you are not in me.
Yeah,
that is in one of the Gita chapters. So he's इसका मतलब है कि हम इतने, मतलब he goes through all of us, like, the consciousness, the super consciousness is through everything, be it a tree, be it a stone, be it anything. It pervades.
That is the underlying reality of everything. Yat kosher pete chivran seth chna, it seth che. Last time Sharad se us vaakh usna purmut ban galit sandar roize and sandar galit machei seth. So seth is that consciousness. Yach actually beautiful interpretations in Bhagavad Gita and in I think which Upanishad is that, in Mundaka Upanishad. It is similar to saying the light of lights, जिसको हम consciousness कहते हैं ना, light of lights. तच्छु आखसु बड़ जान क्या कहते हैं, couplet goes something like this: तमेव बांतम अनुबाति सर्वम tasya basa sarvam idam vibhati. You shining, everything is experienced, and in your light everything is shining, and that you are. So Shivchi Seimans, Suichi Ratu.
Good. Yeah. All right. I think I have taken half of the time with the
But I think
it's good to discuss and elaborate. I'm sure same discussion touches every वाक जो हम पढ़ते हैं. उर्वशी, आवाज गई बंद. ना कींचन बोझन.
conscience जो बोला, conscience is
Conscious
ना
is not
बिल,
conscious.
बिल्कुल
Like
कम
morality, that's conscience. Yes.
That is हमारी अपनी चेतना.
That's what.
जिसको बोलते हैं
ना
वो अलग है ना.
आपका ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा है रुचि जी. अभी तो आ रहा था कुछ टाइम पहले.
जिन स्टार्ट कर
Rushidi, should we move to next one?
हाँ आप आगे तो
okay. Sheetal, if you can take us to the next walk.
Sure. So the
Thank
next one is Rakesh ji, आपका है.
Michubasan Urvashi ji, Sheetal ji, Paran ke. Im chis story pushran iskun.
पुश रहा से
हम बहुत लालची हैं, हम सुनने में मतलब it's a treasure.
मेरी आवाज अब आ रही है? अभी भी नहीं आ रही है?
अब आ रही है.
चलो.
अच्छा ठीक है.
Yim ch thoda tough walk. I thought let's it's learning the sari para ekvate the then we'll go through that. So bepar gonet ye walk tempat karo yat pet discussion thoda yach before I go into the walk yach thoda different interpretation the commentator of this means actually again ये वाक was गोडनेट डॉक्यूमेंट कोरमुत भास्कर राजदानन 18th century मन पत तम वक्त ओस तत कमेंट्री केन दितमत तिम वस सिर्फ वाक डॉक्यूमेंट करम तम वक्त ओस अक लिंग्विस्ट ग्रीसन तम ओस बे early 19th century यस मंज ये वाक बे डॉक्यूमेंट कोरमुत बे तिम वस तत कमेंट्री दितमत ये तिमो कमेंट्री छ दितमत मोस्टली सोई छ यूज गसान ये अख कोशिश यस किताब उर्वशी जी ने भी फॉरवर्ड की है तथ मन छ सोई कमेंट्री मीनिंग मगर पारिमु सबन यमो एसेंट ऑफ सेल्फ छ लीचमत तिमो छ थोड़ा सा दोन लर्न थोड़ा डिफरेंट मीनिंग दितमत सो we'll look at both. So let me read the वाक first. नाथा न पान न पार जोनुम नाथा न पान न पार जोनुम सदै बूदुम यकवदि अडेव छु लिखमुत यकोदि अडेव छु लिखमुत यकवदि सब बच म्युल नो जोनुम सब बच म्युल नो जोनुम चुकुस बकोसा छु संदे. So words are very, very straightforward, but agar godnich learn which of Natha is the Lord. Jashna use Karan Shambhunath. So the Lord, the Master. Na pan, na self, nor others did I know. So that would be literal word to word translation. Natha, na pan, na par zono. That is what Greason has translated it into as word for word. Sadai budum ikavdi. Always I have just, looked after the self. Yachu budumaste, I'd have kormut buvum word as pat change. I'd have should likit budum. But ye ये किताब उर्वशी जीएनएस that much alag word again. So because it's an old word, it's not used in the current, let's say, vocabulary and lingo. So it is hard to know what is the real word that time it would have been used. But जो scholars हैं उन्होंने ताचु थोमुत यथ सदै बुवुम यकवदि दिगव body. So I always, looked after this body and did what needed to be done, my practice, penance, or whatnot. So So how to merge myself with yourself, I had no idea. So I think Greason kya chu vanan ki I know ki yach oneness underlying, but tat kitpert chu, how to realize that, I have no idea. And then comes the final line, it's a doubt who I am and who you are. So that's the doubt of doubts. Sukus bukosa chusande. Parimu serb chu vanan, you godnich zilani ische, don't read it like I don't know who I am or who others are. So chu vanan, tim chu vanan, ki I know the oneness of myself and the others. Napan napar zonum. So I know there is oneness. That's how he is interpreted. But even though I have taken care of just my oneself, then the question remains is Lalla had an idea of oneness, but how to realize that? She had not experienced it. That's what she's saying in the last two lines. I have not experienced that oneness. I know that there is no difference between me and others. And, I have this one body which is not going to remain forever. But how to realize that oneness, I have not found. And that is raising the doubt who I am and who you are. So I leave it at that. So it is for us to interpret now. Master.
राकेश जी ऐसा ही है ना वो भी मतलब फुक्कुस सुक्कुस बुक्कुस तिलवान सुक्कुस.
Yes,
something related to that, है ना?
Yes, exactly. I think if you see, some have attributed Okus Bokus Tilvan Sokus also to Laldet, but it can't be, because the number of lines that are there and the way it is, Laldet's vaaks are not like that. But it is quite possible. Yim learn one learnachna Tsukus Bukus was then later, and Okus Bokus Tilvan Sokus was found. Because last two lines are like that. Butsu mulno zonum tsukus bukus chusande.
So Rakesh, third, the fourth line, third means the one tsubahat butsu mulna zonum. So
oneness. I have
oneness.
not.
She's
I have not
doubting the
known the
oneness.
Yes.
She's doubting the oneness. You and me, how it's merged into one. I don't know how.
Yes.
And then she's coming, okay, tsukus to bukus, yachum
Yes.
sande. So
That's
maybe
the doubt. That's the question.
okay, she doesn't understand tsukus to bukus, and for that reason, probably the merging of both. If you don't understand yourself, you don't understand that, then you won't understand how both can be merged and be one.
Yeah, it's
Something.
the comment made by Parimu Serbchi. It's possible that it must have been, because it's a doubt, it has been much earlier in her journey that she has coined this. That time when she's on this journey aspect. Imish basan, imch shastra vastra parimit, im sori ichpet asan, like we are discussing Atma consciousness. It is a question, it's the doubt. Oneness, tsubo, butsu, mulno zonum. So I have not experienced the oneness. I see myself as this body only. I am the same in others and everything else. That experience is not there. Tsukus buko. So the doubt is that ultimate question: who am I and who are you?
राकेश जी, मैं देख रही है वाक Karmic Kushish is which liners Yasmati Laleshwari Mata Chavanan ke Nath Napan Parzonum. One of the interpretations में बात से होते हैं वक्त मतलब based on what was explained already there कि ये लिए वनान छे न पान न पार zonum इच वनान के मैं कोर दोयम पान दोयम हंते पन्नी तरह treat मतलब
Exactly. I have not differentiated. That's what
differentiate.
Parimuji is also saying. I have not differentiated between myself and others.
मगर पतेली ये वनान चीज वनान मगर ये थॉट ये ख्याल ही पन्ने समझ के बुचस दोइमिस ते पानस अलग समझान एक मतलब का बुचस पन्ने स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी में अत स्टेजस पे when you worth मुझ ने के
Chasnu Bertans.
या
Right.
ये तो बस सॉरी क्या वन ये अकुई
Exactly. That's
मियोन ये थॉट ही वनान के बुचस when वारिया immature that journey month मैं बुचस वारिया I have awakened from my previous state, but I haven't reached a state where I have that whole awakening to say that everything is one.
exactly. This is exactly the interpretation that Parimuji has made, being a Kashmiri, let's say, Hindu. So, based on अगर यत कोशर वर्ड अगर कह के समझ इन ये छु बड़ मुश्किल कैसे दोइमिस यत इंटरप्रेट करूं.
So, and to kind of expand it further, like when you look at like Hindi mythology and where it says sometimes when we extend and say that मैं हमारा चुन की ही मैं चुन बिल्कुल घमंडी which is बिल्कुल ही मैं that thought in itself shows that you haven't awakened. So she's saying that because I feel there's a difference. There is me and others, or there is that supreme in me. That means I haven't reached that stage yet. As a learning, she's telling us we need to awaken ourselves within and keep on going on that journey.
True.
Just a question. Yeah, first Atman's Vanishna the Parzonu. Is she talking about her and other being, not the supreme being here? It is between both the people around me.
Outside me and
outside
others.
me. I'm not differentiating.
That's right. That is
Parzonum.
Yes, that is right.
But the fourth mantra, she's talking herself and the supreme.
Yes.
She is talking, it's the same thing. I mean, she's saying, I have realized that others and me are the same thing. Third में जो interpretation जो दी है, but ये जो mule है, and the supreme, you're right, इसकी oneness का experience नहीं हुआ है.
But Turim smachna da papa tsukus to bukus. Chu Sunday.
Yes, then
Tsukus
because
again herself and the supreme.
Yes.
Not herself and other beings around her, which is in the first.
जो last line है, that is a question. Tsukus, who are you? Bukus, who am I? Tsukus, who are you and who am I? And that is the doubt of doubts that she has. Because I think first line जो बोल रही है and third line जो बोल रही है, Tatsman Shivanan, okay, I have not differentiated between me and others, but इसका म्यूल जो है, इसकी जो oneness है, इसकी जो merging है, वो experience नहीं हुई है. That is the underlying crux that most of the, let's say, scholars have given.
Just interestingly, ये वाक पर ना गॉड याथ मज उसमें पर शिव छी अतीत कुनमा गच. Do you think that has come after this?
I think
here
so.
she has doubted, but there she is
so.
kind of confident. And
I think so.
Isn't
she
it?
has Shivchu Eti with that authority is truly come after self-realization.
Right.
Which I think you can draw a picture of her life through her works. At what point she would have, because she became realized at some point. So they give an insight into her journey.
I mean, there's a possibility that you can list them chronologically based on what she's trying to say.
Exactly. I mean, I always also kund saat na wonder karan look of kas segregate karimit ki manye basan chim early asan tim thavan god and bay baki thavan tat learniments, but again there is a lot to do.
True. No, thank you.
Bozeman, can you hear me?
Yes, with little bit of noise, but we can hear you.
क्या प्रॉब्लम है मैं समझी वहाँ क्या विंदिशा ठीक वंशा ठीक
Much better, much better.
ठीक है थैंक यू सो मच इस पको ब्रोंट कुन कैन
Pako?
ठीक ओके
It's bad sahal. Agar bekante pari, it's bad easy parnas and very straightforward as well. Okay, let's read it. Paran zev tal phajim. Zev tal phajim. Paran zev tal phajim. Se yug kriye tajim naza. Sumran firan nyocht unguj gujim. Sumran firan nyocht unguj gujim. Manich dui malit sajim naza. So she's referring very likely to the scriptures. Paran, Ashpat, Mantra, Paran, Tatpit. Magar se yugi, the one befitting you, that devotion, that action, I was not able to perform. Tajim naza. Mantra parni sit chuna asan. So one meaning can be taken like that. Sumran firan nyot unguj guj. Sumran, so she's referring to the japa mala. मतलब ना अगर beads करते हैं ना जैसे 108 बार कोई मंत्र के साथ तुमची beads फेरा तो nyot तो unguj guj. Either she's suggesting to the folks कि मंत्र और ये जप करने ही से खाली नहीं होता है. And last line है वनान मन dui is two or duality. Again, when you see duality, the opposite is that oneness. Manich dui malit sajim naza. I still see myself as myself and others as others. वो oneness जब तक नहीं आएगी, ये सब चीजों से you're not going to realize the Shiva inside. So that's how I see it and how I interpret it.
So Hasan just say, no, Kabir ka wo doha relates to that. Pothi padi padi jag mua,
Exactly.
Pandit bayana koi.
Bayana koi.
So wahi I think is essentially same message kind of.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We move to the next one.
हाँ मेरी आवाज अभी भी नहीं आ रही है फिर से
आ रही है
मुझे ना समझ ही नहीं आ रहा ठीक
Okay. Katha buzum katha karum. Katha buzum katha karum. Kathai karum sari sat. Shastre kath buzum. Kathe baseyam satchi vat. So I think here Laleshwari is talking about the stories and tales we hear. So I heard the tales and I spoke those. But Kathe Karam Tsari Sat. They were, Tsari means empty. They were empty of the path or hope or root. But once I took to the Shastras or the scriptures, अपने हिंदू स्क्रिप्चर्स शास्त्रे कथ बूजम कथे बास्यम सच्ची बात that opened the doors to the reality of everything, the absolute truth. So again, this must have been early in her journey. So it's a very simple and straightforward vaakh.
Do we have some time? Sheetal, you want to share your vaakh or should I share?
Please share yours. Love to hear yours.
मैंने ज्यादा होमवर्क नहीं किया है बट ठीक I think ये वाला वाक this actually aligns with जो राकेश जी का पहला वाला था ना last but one वाक and also to an extent Sharad ji's वाक in between. So İçmanan Hachvi Harinse Pachu. Okay, I'm not gonna read this. Hachvi Harinse Pachu Kan Gom. Hachvi Harinse Pachu Kan Gom. Hachvi means wooden. Henze means you should have said bow arrow sanesis lokcharis lakri hund banawan kashir. Pachu kan gom. Pachu is one kind of a grass. So abak chan pyom yat razdane. Abak means unskilled. Chan malab carpenter. Abak chan pyom yat razdane. Manzbag bazras kuluf rosvan gom. Manzbag bazras kuluf van gom. Kuluf rosvan gom. तीर्थ रोस पान गोम कुस्माइल जाने मतलब युस ये गणित लाइन छी शवना हचवी हरिजे पेचु कान गोम युस मतलब बेसिक शवनन में उस ओस ये bow and arrow हच हों दोसुम सूंचमुत मगर in that process in my process of reaching my own self ये बाइना गासुक basically aim तो मैंने सोचा था कि अगर aim मतलब because aim है कि कैसे with a bow and arrow which is chisel which is of that quality है कि कैसे मगर in the process ये बने घास किस यूस आपके पास मतलब arrow छु या bow arrow छु ये है कि ना aim कैसे ठीक पे which probably aligns to the fact that यूस इस करांचना to reach God ich karan part, puja, mantra, tantra, sori karanchu, so that we reach God. But she, in her contemplation, I think because she manjim period, I think she's kind of somewhere, but she's still not reached there, I think. And she's also questioning her own process, her own path in that process. And she's voicing it, she's telling us. And that's another aspect where Tēmsis paine life mans at pointers pat kaiten aise so words man so ik kan pat express karan what was around her kya was context around her so she's saying hachvi harin se pechu kan go matlab मैं कह रही पाने की कोशिश मगर बेहचिस मैं ओस न skilled छान मतलब मैं practice ओस न तीता skilled कि Yus yath razdane must be her own body, her chitta. Yus panin andriyam inner conscience algariswana. To tang gavne aim me. मैंने practice मैं ओ समझमुत मैं कुरमुत manz bag bazas patmana it's almost like मतलब manz bag bazras manz kulfuros van gom yos meni andriyam atma chi yos Yebaine almost kulfuros. There is no log. I'm so vulnerable. I feel so vulnerable at this point of time, almost emptied through this kind of process. Means you may say इसे क्या सोचित कि certain external kind of rituals या रीति रिवाज routines तेम किंच कराने कोशिश Quinta Advanced, we feel that it is taking us somewhere, but it may not be so because it is an outward journey. It's not necessarily an inward journey because ये journey अगर ना तो ये आपको चित्त तक पहुंचाती है तब तक वो रिचुअलिस्टिक ही रहती है ये छु अनस्किल्ड छान इमस्टोम das point aspect Pachona तीर्थरस it's almost like तीर्थरस पान गोम कुछ माइल जाने उसमें on your पान छु मतलब मेरी बॉडी है मेरी कॉन्शियस मेरा जो ये पूरा किंगडम है of my own self you should almost as if it's not even reached that pilgrimage, which is reaching Shiva in this context. Kusma who will understand it? I think at this point she's somewhere, but I think she's kind of understood at this point of time कि ये सारी processes प्रथा या जो भी है तो ताइन it's not helping me reach somewhere. So I guess that is what she's trying to say.
Very beautiful question.
But मतलब बड़ा सुंदर है. It almost
बहुत सुंदर, बहुत ही सुंदर.
alive. And look at her humility, and she's talking about her vulnerability so openly, and it's just
कुल्लू फरोसवान
go.
I mean, it definitely shows that she's in that journey and, shows her despair. She aimed for something, but
She's
she
lamenting.
realized it's not. She's way behind. तो तब ना it turned into ये क्या कान
ऐसी होंगे मतलब ग्रास का बना हो ना वो और कैसे इसमें कि एम कर ठीक पे
aim करे तो it is that mid journey kind of she's saying okay I try to do everything right. I aimed for high for that goal, but I haven't reached. I realized that I haven't reached.
So she's referring herself to as the unskilled carpenter, right? So and all the things that she has done and the practices that she has done, and they have been futile in a way.
Yes, exactly. Shunvat no मतलब shunvat आने आंदम या कैसा आंद shunvat she's not been able to reach anywhere through that.
Nice.
Okay.
तो इस हिसाब से हमारा क्या होगा?
It's a journey.
मतलब taking first step itself is a good. I mean, no journey will you'll be able to complete until you take the first step. So that's essentially what it is. At least take the first
बन्ना
step.
से गा से जल्दी अच्छु गा से बन्यो मुतारता.
बन्यो मुच्छु सुई गा से जैसे I remember that one again. निश्चुई सु दूर मो गारुन. पानमंस पान कड व्यचेरी क्या. So use your. I think एक और चीज जो underlying message है ललदेत की is the जिसको हम ज्ञान योग कहते हैं. She is telling us to use your intellect, use your knowledge, go on the path of knowledge and discern the truth yourself. और उसके लिए एक और चीज जो मेरे को again and again जो लगती है, unless and until you have that strong desire, ये जो futility भी जैसे अभी हमने इसमें देखी, unless and until you have that intellect and to see it like that, you won't firstly have that desire to know the truth. So you need to cultivate that desire. You need to cultivate Dyson's dag palna win. You need to have that urgency in you to know the Lord. If you have that, then I think these vaaks are pointers for sure.
I mean, that's right. That the desire has to come within you. First, you have to realize, okay, whether you want to know or you don't want to know. So, if you bring that within you, then you can probably start on the journey.
आई थिंक हर एक की अलग अलग जर्नी है ना. पीपल रियलाइज इट लेटर. कईयों को धक्के पहले लग जाते हैं, and then they see the futility of it and they get pulled over to it, and कईयों को when it is coming to the close, और कईयों को लगते ही नहीं है. So there are some beautiful walks on that as well. Lal has said how there are people different. Some get it early, some are living in peace, and they keep on going through the cycles. And some get it. So it's a journey, and everyone is on
Yes,
his
there's a
own journey.
different journey. Yes, yeah, true, true, true. Different stages. Yeah, yeah. No, great. I mean, every time, every session we have, कोशिश गसान थोड़ा सा फश लगाना.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, see, yes.
No, no, no.
This is a
Asıl
clear
put,
knowledge
put
फुट
चिनेरान.
नेरान फुट नेरान थोड़ा जो कॉन्फिडेंस इवान की हाँ है को परियत कथ छ ऐसे कुनिस करा मगर पारुन छ गसा बड़ मुश्किल बे ये पारुन पे ठीक पे.
मैं अख चेंज वुचमस पानस मन लास्ट ज-3 हफ्ते पे बह छुस वन ज्यादा कोशिश करान गरस मन. सारी छ मे वनान जे मिस क्या छ गोमुत से होतो तो इन कोशिश करो.
नहीं वो उसना आउट ऑफ टच ना कसा पोशन फ्लुएंसी तो रोजान
we don't listen. I mean, आवाज ही नहीं आता. हम
आवाज सुन
अपने आप को भी सुन नहीं पाते हैं.
मतलब वुनकनस कॉन्शियसली पानस पेवान ये डाइवर्ट करुन ना मिच कोशिश पे कत करें क्योंकि अख सच चित छ काम करान ना ना कोशिश कोशिश कोशिश अंग्रेज ने बट कुनी छ
Yeah, no,
फसान.
naturally, yeah. I
सट
think
सट छ
especially no
करान
natural.
लफ्ज सांडस खतर.
इसकी सेशनस में क्या मगर natural.
हैं?
इसकी सेशनस में प्यान बानूना. इसकी सेशनस में क्या natural. I think.
हाँ विशाल जी क्या छ दपान
2 मिनट मिलना में.
हाँ 5.
अच्छा चलो ठीक छ वुचो कुता टाइम लगेस. मे दो ये मतलब सारी वाक अनान लेट मी ट्राई टू डू समथिंग डिफरेंट राइट बह कर क्या स्टोरी टोरी छान वैसे एक्सपर्ट सारी बिहत वन सारी इन स्टोरीज कथा तो इथे पे वुच मे अकिस जाए लिखित कि माता ललेश्वरी गसान यारबलस पे पून अन्य तो तत तमिस तम सम फ्रेंड्स वेंड्स तो गरस मज क्या फंक्शन हिू तो इमिस वन आज खे लल देद यड़ बरित तो पे लेकिन ये थोड़ा सा स्माइल करान तो ये वनान अगेन राकेश जी अगर आप इसका मतलब समझाए तो अच्छा रहेगा. ये हुड मरतन या हखुर मरतन लल
होंड
लबात चल जा.
होंड होंड
हुंड अच्छा सॉरी
होंड मरतन या नहीं
मरतन
मरतन
लल ललवाट चल जा. ये बट इन कंटिन्यूटी बिफोर यू आप इसका मीनिंग समझाएं ये पत अपर पकान आसान अम फादर इन लॉ तो सह बोजान यह क्या अजीब ही स्टेटमेंट इन दिम पे यु गर गसान शामस यु बत खेवान फादर इन लॉ अमिस बहान. सो यह ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड करान कि क्या दलील क्या युथ बोलान पे वुचान विच एवरी वन नोज कि अमिस बतस तल सो काजवट
काजवट
काजवट पे थोड़ा सा बत तो तल काजवट तो ये अमुक ये थोड़ा सा अगर मीनिंग समझो तो दैट वुड बी रियली ग्रेट राकेश जी.
होंड मारतन या कठ इस गरस मज अगर कहाँ ते फीस्ट आसे कह ते बन है कठ गो कठ ना नन खेवानी सारी सो होंड मरतन या कठ इस मेन अंडरस्टैंडिंग कहाँ ते फीस्ट अगर आसे या अगर कठ ते आसे मोरमुत ललि नील वोट सोल न जा ललि ओस नील वाट
हुड गो कट
होन का बोर्ड काट का लकुट आई थिंक
लैम्ब एंड गोट
लैम्ब एंड
lamb and sheep.
sheep and lamb. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, actual okut या बोर्ड होंड मरतन या काट ललि नील वाट Lall-vaakh. Lall-vaakh. Lall-vaakh.
क्या को
ये
काज
लोग
Solne za.
अच्छा तो ब्याक अक लकुट अक
वही बोला इसने.
स्टोरी छ तो ये छ एज यूजुअल गसान पोन अन्य तो नटिस मस तो अमसुन युजन हस्बैंड छ आसान ऑब्वियसली यू नो सु छ सोचान है आज कितकन करन बह तंग आज क्या कर बह गरस मस इत पट अमिस क्या कर बह गर ये तो ये deliberately
मतलब
ये
तुझे पनीन कथ करन
ये deliberately पुटरावान नोट कुछ स्टोन सित या लकड़ी सित तो पात बट स्ट्रेंजली व्हाट हैपेंस कि पून पन्नी जाए रोजान
हाँ.
सो आई वाज रियली शॉक्ड कि जब मैंने ये पढ़ा कि पून ही पन्नी जाए रोजान द पॉट स्टिल ब्रेक्स एंड देन पत घर गसान सारी बान मज पून त्रावान लेकिन पून त्यूत आसान कि बान सारी फुल गसान
Saritevan.
तो पत सह बाकी त्रावान नबर पून तो तम सह पत क्या फ्लड क्या तो एंड द वर्ड स्प्रेड्स दैट
No.
you should something really you know cover special lady.
I think that's perhaps when she must have reached her, let's say, mystic powers. And Vananche tempati trove them gar. So, Yachvanan, you should, that's now, I think, Lalatrag. You should nag Semporia Pampurus Nishu, that chu winter Lalatrag Vanan. A little lake. जो remaining water is was ना picturesque में इस native में remaining water was इस नेबरे थ्रो ताचुना लालत्राग तात बने उस नाग हूँ या pond हूँ. So that's how the story goes or the legend goes. So
Wow.
Gil में नानी जी में ये story was now decades ago. तो थोड़ा मतलब ये तो the crux was कि कहते बनते हैं गरस मंद ये तम से हाश थवान बतस बनकन ये वो जो आपने बोला
काजवट
Kajwot.
रखती थी पेट्रोल से थवान बतस
But
तन बारिया छु आज के कि अगर गरी तम से फीट त्यास कह त्याच मगर तमिस बिचारियों से काजवट हमेशा आसान
मगर लूकन was बोझने वान यमिश छु कूद बात चला लेश्वरी के वान बात थाल अस के वान.
I mean, but she had reached that pinnacle of her mystic powers, no? So she could do that. वो जो नोट टूट गया था उसका पोइनोसिस ऐसे पानी गिरा नहीं तो that was she was quite powerful. She did a lot of I don't know Kashmir Shaivism का tantric vidya whatever. So she would be very powerful in terms of that, right?
कुछ ना कुछ तो होता something.
Look, there are a lot of anecdotes on this. ये ऐसी ना stories बहुत सी हैं छोटी छोटी. एक तो I think आपकी बेस story मुझे ना पूरा पूरा याद किए ये जो ललेश्वरी का जो husband है when he realizes ये क्या च आसान करानी है so वो ये मिश्रीवान ये क्या कहते हैं शेर पे बैठी होती है चुरटान लोट तमसी वन नचनावने खबर कुत कुत गसान यह अख एनेक्डोट ललेश्वरी and but again these are stories.
I think she used to leave home at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. or something to do her sadhana, the practices. And I think someone उसके husband को बोला किसी ने कि ईच कहीं जा रही है तेरी बीवी जाती है रोज रात को तो you are like sleeping whatever. And he followed her one night and then he visualized her as sitting like a Sharika Bhagwati on that tiger lion whatever. So and then he realized कि she was
दरिया पेट पकान तो सुचुचा how does she cross the waters ना दरिया पेट पकान follow करा कराते हैं मगर इसी compilation है ना गमत because I remember what I understand कि उसने सिर्फ वाक बोले हैं she has not written it तो एक compilation किस टाइम कितने टाइम के बाद हुआ था कोई
चोरहत वरी पत फर्स्ट टाइम गए तिम कंपाइल
अच्छा
भास्कर राजदान भास्कर आचार्य भास्कर राजदान ओस तिमो गॉडनिक ले टिम कर कंपाइल 18th century मंज
so there's a chance कि you asked probably full sets again. There may be
Timo
lot.
was na Timo was khali shet vaakh करमित document. Tempat ये British rule आव ना India में tempat ऐस आकोस linguist Greason تم چھُ کٲفی کٔشیٖرِ پٮ۪ٹھ گریٖسن اینڈ سٹین چھِ کٲفی کٔشیٖرِ ہٕنٛز ہسٹری لیٖچھمٕژ کیازکہِ کٲفی انفلوئنس آو لل دید کے ٹائم کے بعد سے ہی مسلم رول اسٹارٹڈ کمنگ ان ٹو کشمیر سو اینڈ دین he added another 55 or so walks to that collection. So so lagbhag 110 walk is documented till 1920s by Greason and Bhaskar Razdan. Tempat 1950s means I kafi kashir scholar, eminent Hindu scholars, but that means go thoda confusion the id Musliman ay timo kor बनेव कुछ fictitious walks kilmu porum verim porum timofsin chulala arif he belongs to she was a Muslim, but then it was refuted by earlier texts and so on. So uske baad kafi walk aaye hain. So now at this stage I think there are close to 270 plus walks documented. So but there is a question mark कि lot of walks में जो है Persian words use हुए हैं या which cannot be true original to Lal Ded. They cannot be at
source chaos. What was their source? Like how did they say कि each मतलब if it's not written anywhere, it was not documented. Because people used to recite Garasman.
Word of mouth. Yes, they have passed on generations from generation. Source जो सुई कैसे different corners पे आए तुम कि Yitichu Lall-vaakh. I don't know what's the reason behind that, why people would do it, but some are definitely a giveaway because of the Persian words used. दूसरा एक और जो जैसे मैंने एक वो text भेजा था वो Mr. R.L. Bhatt का, he makes a very good point. If you see Rap Bhavani के वाक, उनका अभी भी जो syntax और जो text है जो words है वो समझ नहीं आते हैं. And she was there in 17th and 18th century. So Lal Ded was 300 years before Rap Bhavani. How can these words be so easily and simply deciphered? So people have word of mouth say they have been
changing.
So so I think you can safely assume जो 110 वाक है जो ग्रीसन और भास्कर जी राजदान ने कलेक्ट किए थे, they are original. So उसमें से जैसे हम काफी हमने उनमें किए हैं. So rest they have been added later. We cannot verify the validity.
But Rakesh, it has no possibility. कैसे हम सारी वाक us verbal, smriti, nothing written, whatever people remember. यहाँ भी suppose Muslim rule of काफी मुसलमान तिम हिंद यम बने मुसलमान तिमो तो हेद में recite करें. So वारा through generation vocabulary तो has changed governments.
Absolutely.
It's possible कि original walk I say different vocabulary, but over generation, over centuries, from 14th century to 18th century, tim asan thoda dilute gamit yim Persian words asan tath mans incorporate gamit. तो यमी जिमो ऐसा कलेक्ट करमी तिमो यमासन गमित लुकन न बूज मी दिए बूजुक हुई बूजुक तो पतुस ट्रिक हिकतेम. That's how they would have compiled it. The majority population us tamizim hetin compile karing us Musalman and with Persian influence. Even Hindi is Persian Paran. So I think it may have diluted.
But I think what we should what is the important thing is let's take the underlying message out of it.
Exactly.
They are after 1950s or they are earlier. They are all talking about this absolute reality, which is ringing true, and that is what is nice. Because जैसे अक्षसुवाक सोच में बड़ खुश करान शिव छु थल थल रोजान माजान हुंत मुसलमान तुर्कई छु पान प्रजना सोई छै साहिब ज़नी जान. ये छु वाक. Now, if you then probe deep into it, ये छु वनान मुसलमान उसने तेम वक्त word use करने इवान in Lal Ded us. So it cannot be. Then it has been found कि Nundrush you have Nundrush osa Nuruddin Rush. Tem छु ये coin kormut And temche kafi vaakh likmit, even though being a Muslim, on Shiva as well. So there was lot of that Sufistic startup in the जब तक ना proper ये सईदीज ईरान से आए उसके बाद काफी change होने लगा. Anyway, this is what the history says.
Correct. Great. Well, thank you. Purush, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. You should thank you so much everyone for coming, participating. Amazing interactions as always. Thank you so much, especially to all the participants and people who have been hearing us. I hope bay to bay participation. Guys, as we have always kept it very clear, we are all seekers. You can Temdo Rakesh said actually nursery pet khaites lower kg aiming to lower kg. So please feel free to come interact. Okay, Manish ji,
तुम्हें bank bencher ची पत्ती nursery में सिमन क्या बने?
अशी kindergartners नं.
तिमन क्या बने? तिमन से वापस तगा में pencil short और
kindergartners में sorry
Kindergartners नं.
So yes, please come and join. It's an emotion for an hour or so. Patgasanch Beti and life takes over. So thank you so much. Next week, Melo Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And please next week के लिए keep something ready or through the week if you can.
Next week
Nacho Mani ji tayar.
next week को अमिताभ जी story session. तभी उस time जरूरत.